So let's take a look at how to make our own presets from scratch in the Orchestra 2. As you well know, you can grab one of these animated orchestras or any of the presets that it comes with and just start playing some beautiful there's many great presets already in the Orchestra 2, but as stated, why not just create your own, because the engine is there, and all these presets were created with the same engine that you can work with. So how do we go from a full preset and with all these 5 layers and get to an empty preset where we can just click a button? Now if you don't have a preset called empty, if you go to user presets down here, turn them on, turn off the orchestra presets, and now we see just the ones I've been testing with and creating my own little presets. So, but if you don't have one that's called empty, and I already made one empty, so I just double clicked it and that will reset everything. If we go back to main, now everything. But if you don't have one of those, you can make one easily. Say if you're starting with a full orchestra preset and you want to create an empty, just go to each one here. So you go to your main tab, select each one, go to empty slot, hit that button again, select it, go to empty slot, and do that for all 5 layers. And we'll just quickly do that here. And that will empty out your entire preset. You'll have no colors down on the keyboard and no sounds. And then just go up here and then save as new, give it a name, and it should save in your presets. And if you have any problems with saving presets in the Orchestra Part 2, there's a hotfix on the Best Service website. So if you go to your account, there'll be a new zip there to unload called hotfix in case you do have problems saving your own presets. But so let's go back here and just go to my preset, turn that off, my presets, and go to empty and hit main, and now we have the empty presets here and we can start from scratch. So when everything's defaulted out and empty, there are a couple things we can look at here just how to use this. There's 5 parts, so you have 5 layers in this engine. So you can select an instrument, select an articulation for the instrument, then select how the engine is going to play that instrument. So, and so that's on the main page. The engine page, you have all these different engine parts. So arpeggiators 1 to 3 and 2 envelopes, and different ways for your mod wheel and your expression pedals to bring that info in and out of play. So, and then you have your mixer. So you have 3 parts. Your main, where you select everything, your engine, how you tell the rhythm to act and interact with your instruments, and then your mixer is those 5 parts, just like your basic mixer with solo, mute, pan, volume, reverb amount, equalizer, compressor, type of hall, and so a very basic, simple system. So there's another consideration. We can go up here, and if you want your mod wheel not to be using your mod wheel, but you want your expression pedal as an example on CC11. So now it's set up for my expression pedal, and that moves my mod wheel now. So you can change it up that way too. So that's what I like to use. That's what I have on. And you can turn humanize on and off. So let's start with simply selecting first layer, string, violin 1, staccato, because if you see here I selected staccato. If I go to the engine or back to the main, I have arpeggiators available. If I select a sustain instead of a short note, I go back and I don't have those options. I only have envelopes. And if you're wondering why that is because the engine isn't going to arpeggiate sustaining notes, long instrument notes. So the arpeggiators are just for short notes. So that's why they don't even give you the option to arpeggiate a long note, because it would just get too messy. All right, so let's go back and let's go back to staccato on the first one, and we'll go to arpeggiator number 1, and we can see that now there's green and there's blue. The blue and the green together are your full play range. The green is what they consider to be your safe range for playing all 5 layers at one time in their best possible configuration. So you're safe playing in the green range if you want to hear all 5 layers. All right, so we've picked our instrument, its articulation, and we wanted to arpeggiate with arpeggiator number 1. We go to the engine. We do click on this, make sure it's on arpeggiator 1, and we do turn it on, make sure both of these are on, and we can turn that off, the rhythm part for now. We'll explain that a little bit later. But right now, if we play something and we have our expression pedal up so we can actually hear the sound, we can hear it's a very fast 16 triplet feel. Let's start with just an eighth, and I'm holding down a chord, right? So you can hear all the notes of the chord playing in an eighth rhythm. But if I just want to hear just the up notes of playing the note at a time, you have a different effect as it goes through the 3 notes of my chord. Change the chord. And if you want to play through the notes of the chord in a different way, and move in. So different ways to play through the notes of the chord that you're holding down, or all chord in. So it's now played as full chord sustained. All right, so that's how that works. And let's go back to up and playing each note separately of the chord. And we can change the transposition. Or we can go to the main and change the transposition in a different way up here. +1. Or we can go down. So we'll go back to 0 there and go back to the engine. So transpose in 2 different ways there, and we can, right now it's just playing 1 octave. This little rhythm is just playing 1 octave of range of this instrument. If I wanted to go more range, it's going to go up another octave. And you can even go further. So depending on the effect you want. So we'll go with 2 octaves of range for this little rhythm here at an 1/8 feel of speed. And it's going to play all the notes. You could determine that you just want of the chord. I just want the top note of the chord to play. So now it's just repeating my highest note of my chord. You get that effect. Now if you just want to play the lowest chord note, now it's repeating that. So you see how that works? Now I want all 3 of my chord notes to rhythm, to arpeggiate. So a lot of different effects just from using a couple of these different ideas here. And of course you can swing it. So that's what that is. Now the repeat button just adds a few more notes into this rhythm. Makes it busier. And sometimes you can get some kind of syncopated rhythm effects that way. So we'll leave that there for now. So okay, we have some idea of how this is useful. Down here now, if we turn on the rhythm, we're not turning on some different, a new arpeggiator. If I use my expression pedal or mod wheel, depending which one you have set up, it brings it up and down. And these bars go up and down. They go from gray to higher, higher. So you're bringing in, and if I just click all of these across here, just to give you an example, it's actually, it is on now, so it's going to bring the volume up in one solid way with a bar step. Let's go, well, we'll leave it there for now, 16 bars, so over, or 16 steps. So what it's going to do is play, it's not really going to change the rhythm at all. It's just going to, if we go turn it right up high here, so just click on everything to max it out here. It's a little wonky with just using the mouse to do this, but so basically there's really no difference with this on or off at this point when they're all just up like that. It's just louder, and you can just determine how loud that is. So the rhythm is exactly the same with this on or off. The only time you're going to see some changes when you add some variation to when it plays this rhythm. So to just give a very simple example, now it's going to play the rhythm. It's going to kind of just bring it in and up and climax and then back down. So I just kind of swell that rhythm. So down here it doesn't change the rhythm, it just determines when that rhythm is played, when you hear it. So another example, if I go and just say every second one up and down, you will get a volume difference in the rhythms here, simply from just having every second time interval kind of swell up and down. Now it's a little more rhythmic because it's going up and down in volume as it's playing that kind of. But the actual rhythm is not changing, just so that's clear, you understand how this works. All right, so let's just take this back and kind of give it maybe just a little bit of swell, a little bit of movement. And we'll play it again. Okay, so now let's go back to the main page. And we've kind of got our first arpeggiation there at 8th note feel. Let's go down here and add a cello real quick. So we'll go or maybe a double bass, and we'll go with a staccato note. And we can arpeggiate that in the engine now. So if we go back to, we can see here that we can pick arpeggiator number 2, go to the engine, turn on arpeggiator number 2. That's what we want to affect. And it is on, and we'll turn rhythm off for now. We'll just kind of blank that out across the board. And we can determine what our second arpeggiator is going to be. Maybe just a quarter note, so we're going to have a steady bass note in the background, and it's going to use maybe all the notes, maybe the full chord. We'll start with the full chord, and we'll just see how that sounds. And that all chord's not working so good in my ears, so we'll just kind of arpeggiate through the notes of that chord. And we might add a repeat. Or we may change it up and have it move in and change it to a triplet feel, just to see how that works. And that didn't work too good, so let's go with an 8th. We don't like it repeating, so we might have it go up another octave. So for just the effect of learning of the mechanics how this works, that's fine for now. You go back to the main, let's pick a viola and have it go sustain note. Now let's figure out how sustains work with those envelopes. So go to the engine, so just make sure we've got that viola sustain and set up with envelope number 1, because we have envelope options because it's a sustain. Go to the engine, turn it to envelope number 1, make sure it's on, so make sure that's lit up. And again, this envelope now is going to determine when it swells in and out, when that sustain note kind of swells in and out. So just to show it very plainly, it's swelling in and out, let's just draw in that kind of shape. And again, my expression pedal is going to bring it in. So now we'll hear sustain just coming in kind of. So I'm totally, determining when this swells in and out. Over 2 bars or maybe faster swell, 1 bar. So now it's going to do this little movement over 1 bar. Or if you just want a kind of a more human feel to things without it swelling in and out so much, you can have it just kind of humanized as it swells in and out, kind of. So now that viola sustained articulation is just swelling a little bit in and out, just kind of human feel to it. And or you can have it much more drastic, just to experiment. So you see how that works. All right, so let's just go back to kind of a lazy kind of swelling in and out kind of deal. And you can copy and paste one of these envelopes to another one. So back to the main, and now let's just get a pizzicato going with, we'll pick a string pizzicato, and maybe the cello doing a pizzicato, and we'll set that up on maybe, we'll try ARP number 2 and see how that works, and go back to the engine, and it's already set up. So we have ARP number 2 set up. So if it's working good for that one instrument, maybe it'll work good for our pizzicato, or we could put it on ARP 3 and change it. So let's solo that. And you can go to the mixer and turn up the cello pizzicato a little bit. Get pan it slightly. Get pan the viola this way. Pan the violin that way. Bass more into the middle, and go back to main and unsolo. So here's just a quick example of how you can work with the engine. It's very simple to use. And the best part about it is once you learn the basics of this engine and how to just, work these arpeggiators, how to get the rhythm with your mod wheel or your expression pedal, how to get a little bit of movement in with that. Once you understand it, you've got all these great presets that it comes with, the orchestra comes with, and you can just grab one of these, and now you'll know how to fine-tune it exactly how you want. You could, go with, and you may say to yourself, well, I like that piano, but I wish I could control it. How do I, now you know how to actually go in there. It's on ARP number 2. So go to the engine, ARP number 2 for the piano. And if I go to my mod wheel or expression pedal here, a lot more control. You can say, okay, I want it to even go higher up on the range. a different note order. I want it to zigzag. Or I want the full chord of that piano. And you can mix it how you like and go to the main, and you may say, I want it to be a brighter piano overall. So just transpose it with this middle button. So you really have complete control of all these great presets once you understand the engine. So that's what I wanted to show today. Hope you enjoyed this little video. Have a great night wherever you are, or day wherever you're at, and we'll see you on the next one.